Hey everyone, welcome to a dev stream, and I'm here with Dennis and Simon. Hey guys, how are you guys doing today? Hope everyone enjoyed our little overview video, but as we also mentioned in that video, we are going to obviously talk about a lot of things in this dev stream, and this is also the last stream before the end of the year, at least last dev stream before the end of the year. So we are all very excited to talk to you about all the cool stuff coming up, and with that being said, let's just dive into it because we have a lot to go through today. So first of all, here's the logo for Devil's Moon, very pretty. The Dark is Rising is a subtitle. I don't think we ever had like a subtitle like this, but I think it looks really cool. And let's start off with a few news that are important. First of all, guys, we have new merch for the holidays, which you can still get if you are quick enough. And I can actually show you some of these because I have them here. If you still order them, you can still get it before the holiday season, but these are limited for this time of the year and will be gone from the store after that. But let me quickly just show them to you. Here's one of them. Has a cool hunt logo in the front and nice winter stuff on the background. The other one I have on, which is with the Krampusy one with the Devil's Advocate, and it also has it on the back. And there's a third one as well, which you can get with, again, like Devil's Advocate style holiday background. So if you like these guys, maybe grab one of them, only for limited time in the store. Another announcement that we wanted to make is, maybe you already seen it, but the new Paul Sulphur band, our little developer band and the band that makes all the music for the game, has released a new album with 7 songs that you can already stream in all the major streaming platforms, and it's called The Devil's Match. And I highly recommend it. It is really, really cool, and all the songs are awesome. And it has the songs from Devil's Moon and the previous events as well. So yes, very cool stuff. That was the small intro from me. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, let's dive into the actual nitty-gritty of the event. And now I'll give the place for Dennis and Simon to take over mostly. And let's talk about the event overview. I guess it's still my part. So as you guys see, the highlight video is available. You can read it. And as Bree mentioned in the video, we will have 2 deep dive videos. One with Dennis. Dennis was mentioned a lot. We'll have a long video diving into the new weapons, the traits, and everything gameplay related of the event. And we'll have another with Anton about the progression. And it's also the last event in the Moon trilogy. So you guys know we had Traitor's Moon and Serpent Moon before this one. And this is Devil's Moon ending the storyline of these events, and I think it will be a really great conclusion as well. Now Dennis, finally you can say something. So let's talk about the duration of the event. You're not. I think they just said that because I've been talking too much, you know. Well, I can see the audio working, so. Oh. They say it's muted. Okay, well, apparently it's not meant to be, but I can try to fix it very quickly. Okay, can you say something, Dennis?
I can certainly say something.
Is it good? There we go. Okay, I mean, the OBS said it's all good, but apparently not. So now they can hear you. So, okay, let's talk about the duration then.
All right. So in the hopes that everybody can hear me. So we have the event starting tomorrow, basically, the 14th, and then it goes for 2 months until the 15th of February. And it will start tomorrow at 4 p.m. CET, and it will end in the morning of the 15th at 8 a.m. Sorry. Correct. And of course, it's coming to all platforms.
Exactly. So I know it's always a question, but as with all previous events, it is available on PlayStation and Xbox as well at the same time. And yeah, Dennis, so we did receive a lot of feedback on previous events. Could you tell us like what we did with the feedback and how we go about these events now?
Yeah, so people seem to really appreciate the gameplay changes from the last event, just like breaking out a bit from the monotony of the normal gameplay loop. And we were using events now like to kind of experiment with things a little bit more. So as you can see this time around, and we talk about this in the next like hour or so, I guess, we show you a little bit more how this is actually going to shape up this time around, what we're changing, what it all means for the normal gameplay, and where things are kind of like diverting a little bit this time around. So yeah, exciting.
Yeah, so and obviously we'll have a lot of stuff to show you, and then you will understand what the tennis really means by that. And yeah, let's dive into the base rules of the event, which is obviously similar to previous one, but let's quickly look through that. And maybe there's some few new things in there as well.
Yeah, so like normal activities are very similar to what you guys are known to, right? So it's about gathering event points, and you do that by completing certain activities. We have normal ones for exploration again, the soul traps, which Simon is going to talk about in a second. And we also obviously have playing the objective that includes like the clues, the bosses, the stuff that you know, and PvP, of course. So like these three pillars are still there, and they're the foundation for you to doing the normal activities. However, we have something on top of that, which is like the new challenger system, which Anton will explain a little bit more in detail, because quite a bit of our event points will be generated from that system this time around.
Exactly, and we'll have a lot of slides explaining how that system exactly works. But yeah, first let's look at the original or usual methods. And first, let's just take a look at the soul traps. And maybe Simon, you can already tell us something about them, like what we are seeing here.
So the soul traps are the new big event prop we have for the game. And you can collect event points or destroy them to also gain event points, but you will get less event points from them.
Right, and we do have some videos of them, so let's
take a look.
Them.
So you can see they're quite big, and you can hide behind them. So it's a hold interaction to get the soul trap, and then you get some 6 event points, basically.
Exactly. And we have one more video to show.
I really love how they disintegrate afterwards.
Yeah. And then another big part of the soul trap is that they contain the red clue mechanic. So if other hunters are nearby, you'll be able to note that because of this red glow and also the sounds.
Yeah, it's like a familiar sound, so if you know what a red clue is, you will feel right at home here when it comes to understanding danger is nearby, which is actually kind of awesome, because like it just gives you that same kind of enemy proximity readability that we have normally, just like a bit more consistently throughout. And I think that makes for some really interesting changes around these like soul traps, basically.
And in terms of spawn rate, about 2 or 3 spawn around a compound, so a bit like snakes. And so you'll have a lot of opportunities to get this mechanic working in game.
And one thing we haven't mentioned is that they can actually explode. So could you tell us about that part?
So basically you can also destroy them, and then they act like a barrel in a sense. So if you stand next to them, it will deal about 100 damage to your hunter, and also a bleeding effect. So better not get too close to them, but you'll have to risk that for getting event points, of course. But of course, it has a fuse, so it's not that big of a deal.
So it's not like an instant explosion.
A bit of variety, as you kind of have to see, like it's about risk reward. Like, do you want to just like play it safe, just shoot it from distance, also make some noise, right? So it might attract some people from even quite some distance, actually, I think. And then also like there's a bit of a risk with a warning that it kind of can blow up right next to you. So yeah, always be careful around them. But then again, the red clue mechanic kind of helps, at least when there's enemies really close by, to avoid like any ambush situations.
Yes.
So yeah, those are the new soul traps, and Simon already mentioned some of the points you can collect, but here is a breakdown of the event points and how you collect them through this event. So as you can see, if you destroy the soul traps, they do explode, but you only gain 3 event points. If you interact with them, it's I guess you could. It's kind of similar how the snakes or snake baskets worked in Serpent Moon. Then you get a bit more point, but again, there's the risk that someone shoots it, let's say, and it explodes. Like if you investigate the clues or rifts in quick play, then you get 10 event points. Looting that hunter will give it 12. banishing a boss also 12. And if you extract with at least one bounty or you win a quick play, then you gain 30. And as also Dennis already mentioned, the big part of this event is the new challenges system. So as you can see, you can earn quite a lot of event points with that, but we will get back to that later and how exactly those milestones work. And yeah, Dennis, there's another huge part in this event, which is the pacts. So let's talk about the 3 pacts.
Yeah, so basically this time around, there's 3 major pacts, we call them. And hunters are kind of pledging themselves to either of those pacts as they go. Some of them go for the first pact, which is the Infernal pact. Then we have the second pact, which is the Lunar pact, and the third pact, which is the Grounded pact. Now, these 3 pacts, they are sort of connected to the lore and the story behind the entire Moon series of events. So some of you who have been enjoying the last events, they kind of like know about some of the key figures, right? We know about Kevin, we know about Mary, we know about Mr. Cherry. So these pacts, they kind of are either aligned with or against the schemes of Mr. Cherry and what he's up to. And so the Infernal pact is kind of like the pro-Cherry faction, if you want to simplify it. They're all about like destruction, chaos, basically playing into the hands of what Mr. Cherry is doing. And Mary Evchenko is like the champion of that pact. Then we have opposing them the Lunar pact. They are rallied around Kevin. Who is like one of the kind of like counterparts to Mr. Cherry, like he's going up against him, has had some success even in the last event. So yeah, make sure to follow also the lore parts this time around. So they're about like restoration, about healing, etc. And then we have the Grounded pact. That's more like a Wildcard thing. It's more like the unaligned pact. So those who don't want to choose sides, they kind of go for the Grounded pact, and they have their own kind of like things going for them.
That sounds great. As obviously it is completely new, but let's talk about how these work and how you can get a pact and what the pacts do and what can you get with the pact. So let's talk about the pledge mark system.
Yeah, so the core of this event is the concept of pledging to one of those pacts, and for that, we basically introduce a new reward currency, which is called the pledge marks. Now they can earn during gameplay, and you can use them to pledge yourself to one of the 3 pacts. Each hunter can be pledged anew, so you don't have to commit to, let's say, a particular pact at the beginning of the event. Every time you have a new hunter, they can choose which pact they want to pledge to as they earn their marks, their pledge marks, and then basically make the choice in gameplay. Now, every hunter can have up to 4 of those pledge marks carried on them. So you can earn 4 of them and carry them on you. However, you can only ever get 3 of them at the same time in the mission, right? There's 3 opportunities, and basically this is like the rule of firsts. So it's like the first time you have 35 event points in that particular mission, you get 1 of those pledge marks. Or the first time when you banish like your first boss, basically, and when you first loot your first hunter that you either killed or found. So again, this is about like collecting and exploration for the event points. It's about banishing, which is playing the objective, and it's about the dead hunter, which is the PvP component, similar to what we have with the event points as like the 3 pillars. We also try to follow up here, which means you can get up to 3 of these points. However, since you can carry up to 4, maybe you need to play more rounds in order to be able to actually get to the maximum that the hunter can have, and what that is an effect will give you. We'll talk about it in a second.
Exactly. So as you said, let's talk about that right now. First of all, how do you use the pledge marks that you collect?
Yeah, so in the world, we have our supply points, and during this event, they're a little bit different. They're kind of like pledge posts. So you will find everything that the supply points constitute of is normal, like the ammunition and all of the stuff that you usually go for. However, in addition, we have a couple of pledge boxes. So it's like 3 of them. 1 per pact, and by interacting with them, if the player owns 1 pledge mark on their hunter, if they already earned 1 pledge mark, they can initiate basically their pledge and then commit themselves to one of the 3 factions.
Yeah, meanwhile, we are showing this on a video as
yeah. So you can see like it's the Infernal pledge then, for example, and we have the Grounded in the center and the Lunar on the right hand side. In this case, we're just using the Lunar one, and pledge ourselves. As you can see on the top left, this is where it shows you that you have 1 out of 4 marks. Also important to understand here is that you do not consume the marks. The pledge marks remain on the hunter. They're just a token that you need to have in order to be able to pledge. They're being used in different ways, and that's what we talk about then as we go through the different rewards that the player gets. Now, in addition to that, if you want to show it one more time, or okay.
Yeah, we just have 2 videos. Let's look at it again then.
Yeah,
The
that's
first, yeah. So again, you can see the 3 different pledge boxes at the supply areas like you're used to, and then you can choose which pact you pledge to, as Dennis mentioned. And as you can see again, as Dennis said, currently the player has 1 pledge mark carried, so they could pledge to the whichever faction, whichever pact they wanted to pledge to. In this case, the Lunar, but the pledge mark was not consumed during it.
Exactly.
Okay, and before we look at the second video, let's see, like, again, how the amounts of pledge marks works between 1 and 3.
Yeah. So for the first mark, if you have 1 mark and you do it, you get 1 trait. So each of the pacts has 2 unique traits linked to them. They're exclusive for this event. And by pledging your first time there, you can get this initial pact trait. However, if you have maxed out your hunter, so if your hunter is basically having earned 4 of those pledge marks and has them on them, you can also deepen your pledge, and you can therefore like interact 1 more time with the pledge box and then get the second trait in addition. So that way you have the chance to kind of maximize. As I mentioned before, you can only get 3 pledge marks per mission. So in order to get 4, that hunter definitely needs to survive at least 1 mission for you to be able to benefit from this.
Right, and now we can look at the second video where we actually deepen the pledge with the Lunar Pact.
As you can already see, like, you are committed now to 1 pact, so you cannot interact with the other ones. For the second one, if once you have made your choice with the initial pledge, now you can only deepen with the same pact, but you cannot switch pacts.
Yeah, and the traits that we showed, we will talk about that in a second. So, yeah, why don't we dive into the traits and let's see what pact gives you exactly what, now that we've seen how you exactly pledge with it.
All right, that sounds good.
Actually, there's some notes to mention here, first of all.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's talk about that maybe first.
Yeah.
There's also some legendary hunters, so they already made their choice, and that's because they're connected to this by the lore side, right? So those hunters, you'll see them marked with a little icon there, basically in the legendary recruitment screen. If you recruit any of those hunters, you have to choose that particular pact for them. You cannot choose the other ones. It's really just because by story, by lore, they are already basically aligned with one of those factions. And it becomes also a bit clearer once we talk about the new legendary hunters of this event.
Yeah, so here you can see that the redneck is pledged to the Lunar, while the Night Accolade is to the Infernal Pact already. And as Dennis mentioned, a bunch of the legendaries will be pre-pledged to one of the pacts already. So you will see that when you're looking through the Legendary Hunters menu.
Yeah, there's also one important point here is that if you play together with your friends, you are not limited to just 1 particular pact in your lobby. You can still mix them, you can still have them. It's just personally, these hunters have pledged to one of the particular pacts. That doesn't mean all of the old relationships can be broken down. They can still form like alliances, play together, etc. However, they obviously only benefit from the traits of their respective pact.
Awesome. And yeah, with that, we actually got to the traits, and we're starting off with the Infernal Pact. And each, as Dennis already mentioned, each pact has 2 traits. One for with the 1 pledge mark, you can acquire it, and the other one you can acquire with 4. When you deepen your pledge to the same pact.
Exactly. So let's talk about the first trait then. So with 1 pledge mark, Infernal gives you the trait called Fire Eater. So what Fire Eater does is that in exchange for 1 pledge mark, when a health chunk is burned away, it is instantly restored. So that basically means that Infernal is all around the theme of fire. And what it gives you, as you can already read from the description, is the ability to protect yourself from fire. So for example, you get downed, someone burns you. As long as you have marks on you, you can kind of like keep on going because it will kind of restore the just burned out and lost chunk for the cost of one of those marks. So you can kind of keep going for a bit longer. It's also very interesting as you move around fire, because obviously it doesn't make it as punishing once the chunk is gone to kind of like keep on going. It also tops up the health always to whatever chunks you have left. So obviously if you got downed before, it doesn't restore these type of chunks, but whatever you lose from fire, you will be able to get back, as you can see with this emulator here. Like basically normally that emulator would have completely burned away that chunk, but since you had a mark and you even have 2 marks, so you could do it 2 times, you had the chance to get that chunk restored if you lose it through fire, that is.
Also, don't heavy knuckle knife the emulator. Let's just take a look once more quickly. It instantly restores that 1 chunk, and as Dennis said, you did lose 1 pledge mark, and now you will lose the other one as well instantly.
Yeah, like that. It even goes with the last chunk that you have. So as long as you have marks, you keep on going. So that's really interesting with Infernal, like being all around the fire. Like it makes fire something you fear way less than normal, and gives you keep a couple opportunities. You can even use this like by kind of like even intentionally burning away some of your health that way, because as it also refills the health, it gives you a chance that if you're out of medkit charges to just like quickly burn one away and get everything restored. Again, as long as you have marks. Once you're out of pledge marks, the normal rules apply and the trait deactivates.
Yeah, you could actually see it in this video exactly as you talked about it. So the player had 1 pledge mark, it expired, like he used it, and then the second health burnt away because there was nothing left.
Yeah, so always watch out how many marks you have, and obviously keep in mind that acquiring new marks might be a bit of a process that takes some time, so you need to plan for it. Like don't waste your marks, be careful. Ideally, it's still best to not just lose anything to fire. And the main reason why that is, we talk about now with the second trait.
Which is flame touched.
So with flame touched, again, this is when if you deepen your pledge, if you have 4 pledge marks on your hunter, you can't even catch fire at all anymore. So it's like a more extreme version of what we've seen before, still all about fire. That means that it's going to take a lot longer for you losing any sorts of chunks to fire. It just does a glimmer, it does a bit of charcoaling, but you do not catch fire. So interesting part here is that you can just walk through fire completely unmolested for quite some time until the chunk would have been normally like charcoaled, like completely filled up with charcoal and then lost. However, you will never ever catch fire, and that is actually a very strong trait. However, the moment you lose a single mark, you no longer have 4, and as such, that trait deactivates. So you have to be at the maximum with your hunter. You have to keep him at 4 pledge marks to benefit from this.
Yeah, meanwhile I put on the video so they can see how it actually looks in game. You can see the 4 pledge marks available and the player not catching a fire in the fire.
So you can see like the glimmer is still there, right? Like it still eats away your health slowly, but it doesn't set you on fire.
Correct. And Dennis, what would happen if 1 chunk was lost here? Then there will be 1 pledge mark consumed, and then...
Yeah, so if you are losing the chunk, then the first trait kicks in, right? And Death Eater then takes away 1 of your marks to restore that chunk. But in doing so, it also means you no longer have the 4 pledge marks that you need to have Flame Touch active. So the Flame Touch bonus only is active for that very first protection level. Anything beyond that, you basically can catch fire again as Flame Touched is no longer there. It's basically deactivating and remains deactivated until you have again 4 pledge marks. So it's in your own interest to keep your hunter always topped up at the 4 pledge marks to get the maximum benefit that you can get here.
Yeah, awesome. So that's it for the Infernal fraction and pact, and we will talk about the Inferno a bit later. And I feel like the Infernal pact is really good during that wildcard condition, but we'll get back to that a bit. But let's talk about our Lunar traits.
Yeah, so the second pact, Lunar, we talked about like it's more about healing, it's about restoration, so their traits kind of reflect that as well. Let's talk about the first one, Relentless, which you also get the access to pledge then to the Lunar pact if you have 1 mark. And the interesting part here is that it takes away all of your marks that you have. So it doesn't matter if it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. Whenever this trait is active, it loses all of them. However, in doing so, when you get down, you do not lose the chunk that you would normally lose. So that's a very big one, because it basically means that as long as you have a mark, you can get down once, takes away all of your marks in the process, but your partner can pick you up basically without you suffering the penalty. So you still have basically 150 or whatever like health points you had before you go down. So this is going to be a very, very strong one, but since it takes away really all of your marks, also there is a huge tax on it, and it usually in practice means you can only do this once in a fight, and then you would need to get first a new mark somewhere before you can use the benefit again. You can also see, like in the video, when a hunter is being hit and he has a mark, like a little particle effect there that kind of tells him, okay, well, the mark has just been basically consumed in the process. So that's just for a bit of readability that you also understand if someone else has it.
Exactly. I think that's a good point to actually show that how that also looks in first person, because we actually have a video for that. So this is what you would see when you are using up a pledge mark.
Yeah, there's also like obviously the audio you guys probably hear. I don't hear it right now, and it kind of gives you that readability, and you can see like the icon on the top left, kind of like going reducing by 1 from 2 to 1 and to 0. So it's just a debug to just show you like how this effect would look, but part of this whole readability, and you see this in first person and in third person. So yeah, Lunar is all about health. It's all about restoration, and I think that one is kind of be quite nice for players who just want to be playing aggressive, etc., because they can take that one down without a significant drawback yet. However, then subsequent ones, obviously, as you don't have any marks in practice most of the time at this point, they will just take away the chunks as usual.
Okay, but let's talk about Indomitable, which is also really cool and builds on this idea as well. So what does that do, Dennis?
So Indomitable, second trait that you get for deepening the pledge with Lunar, is basically similar to what a regeneration shot does. So while this is active, it basically means that health regenerates continuously across chunks. There's difference, however, to how a regeneration shot works. A regeneration shot, as you know, like it has an instant effect. So the moment you basically take damage, it starts regenerating. However, it only does so at half the speed of normal regeneration. In turn, Indomitable still has the same delay before even regeneration starts. However, it does so at the normal speed. So if you manage to maintain 4 pledge marks on your hunter, so you cannot get down, because then you lose all of them, which also then shuts down Indomitable. But while you have 4 pledge marks on your hunter, you will have this additional effect, and that makes it really interesting. It doesn't really stack with regeneration, because regeneration kind of still overrides it. So I guess in practice, what that means is that if you are having a hunter on a Lunar trait, like the canized pledge to like the Lunar pact, you probably don't want to bring a regeneration shot, because it kind of does this like a small variant of what now Indomitable does for you. However, the moment you lose any of the marks, in this case you would lose all of them by Relentless kicking in, you also lose that power from Indomitable until again you have 4 pledge marks. So maintaining those 4 marks, keeping your hunter at the peak again on that trait side, also very important.
That sounds great. And I like how it's like kind of opposed how the traits work to the Infernal pact as well. So, you know, this is really all about healing, while the other was all about burning in hell and fire. So it's awesome. But we do have a third pact as well, as you mentioned earlier, the Grounded. So let's look at those traits. And one of this is my favorite, actually, from the event. So let's look at the first one for 1 pledge mark.
So Death Cheat, that is the first one. So as you can see, Grounded already does things a little bit differently. It's more Wildcard-ish. It's more like neutral, unaligned. And Death Cheat is basically that for exchange of all of your pledge marks, so similar to what we just talked about with Relentless for Lunar, it takes away all of your marks when you completely lose your hunter. However, your hunter is not lost in that time. He still loses all of the gear. He still remains at the whatever few health chunks you had left at this point. So it still costs you. You will not just get your guy out with everything. However, the hunter himself, like or herself, the hunter will stay alive, which means you can still maybe continue to grind for the traits, get him to level 50, etc. However, again, when used, all of your marks have been consumed, which means to get this benefit again, you first need to at least get one more mark in the mission. So there's always the risk that at the beginning of the next round, if you do not manage to kind of like maintain your protection by just getting another pledge mark to make Death Cheat active again, you will still lose your hunter. So it's not guaranteed, but what we like about this one is that it gives you a chance to just be a bit more aggressive, be a bit more risky. Like specifically if maybe hunter only has contraband or some really cheap gear on it, you can are okay with losing, but you don't want to lose the hunter. You can still maybe do that push. You can still maybe do some aggressive play, because at least you know that hunter in a very wounded state will still be available for you in the roster when you come back.
Right, and I know some people really struggle with getting the 5 level 50 hunters achievement, so guys,
that's your chance now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not easy to get a level 50 hunter, but here's your chance, so don't miss out on this one. But let's talk about my favorite trait, actually, which is the second, the Deepened Pledge trait for the Grounded faction, which is called Shadow.
Shadow. So Shadow does things also very differently. If you have those 4 pledge marks again, as you can already start seeing a pattern there, but like across the different pacts, right? With a second one, always requiring you to have the 4. Monsters, like so your basic AI in the world, they will not be able to attack you anymore. So that makes you very, very, very strong, being able to just walk around them. However, there is a catch, that they will still hear you. So they will still get stirred up by footsteps you make or by shooting you do, etc. So it will still take a bit of effort to kind of move through a compound undetected. So if you want to sneak up, that AI might still just go crazy. They will not have you as a target because they don't see you, they don't know you're there. You're basically in their like psychic shadow or whatever you want to call it. However, anyone else, they might still get stirred up by that hive going aggro or by that armored going aggro. So you still want to be careful around it. At least you do not have to fear much from them while you have your four pledge marks. However, again, once you get killed and you lose your pledge marks again, this trait also shuts down. So you want to make sure you maintain those 4 marks. And after having used, for example, Death Cheat and lost all your marks to save your hunter, you now need to again first get 4 pledge marks before we can benefit from Shadow again.
Yeah, it's important to know that it does not affect bosses though, so just regular monsters.
Yeah, bosses are too smart, they see through the charade.
Yes.
That's like the basic monsters. So this is very interesting, obviously, like if you're like a solo player, because what you can do now is without having to rely on whatever your teammates have chosen as their pact, you can kind of like move around, get that clue, like we see, or also very interesting, like maybe even being able to disengage from a group of hunters chasing you, right? Like you can actually take shelter amongst hellhounds now. While they have to kind of fight them, the hellhounds might just get stirred up, right? And they just go around crazy looking for a target, but you can just keep on pushing through. But the guys chasing you, they will have to deal with them now. So any sorts of like a fresh compound where there's still plenty of AI around, you can kind of use that as a buffer to kind of get some distance between you and your pursuers.
Yeah, so meanwhile I was playing some examples of it. And it's really cool how you can just sneak around all the AI. So then it's what I seen someone asking, what happens if the AI hears you, but can they still attack you or just follow you?
They would just be stirred up. So for example, there might be those grunts sitting or lying on the floor, right? So someone was just asking in chat, like, so why are you still crouching? Because of the footstep noise you make. Like if you don't want the AI to react to you at all, you still would like to kind of like be careful about how much noise you make. In the end of the day, if you make the noise, it doesn't really matter because they will not be able to attack you. But that other hunter, they might have still heard the AI like cry out and might still assume that you are around, and that might be to your disadvantage.
Yes. That sounds really awesome. And yeah, this is the last video, and it will be so good with Hellhounds. And it's like, I'm excited.
As you can see here, like that grunt is like looking what's going on. They heard the noise, right? But they can't really make you a target, and you can move around. But again, someone else might still have heard them, right?
So it's a bit like having like an invisibility cloak, I guess, so they can hear you but not attack you.
You might still make some noise and draw attention, but at least they will not be able to do something about you.
Awesome. Okay, so that is our pact traits for each pact. But we do have some additional traits that will affect all pacts as well. So let's talk about those. It's one for each pact, actually. So let's take a look at those.
Yeah, so these are all existing traits, and similar to what we've done in the last events, we've kind of added a bit of conditional additional bonuses to them. So as you are then using these traits, and obviously, of course, doesn't matter what pact you're pledged to, you can still obviously take all of these traits. It's just that you will only get the additional conditional bonus effect if you are of that particular pact. So for Infernal, it's self-skin, and what it does is that if you have an Infernal pledged hunter, it increases the regeneration speed of partially burned health chunks further. So that means it actually recovers from charcoaling at a much faster speed. For everybody else who is Infernal, whether they're unpledged or whether they're pledged to Lunar or to Grounded, it does have the normal effect. It's just a little bit better for those who have Infernal, as you recover from the burning damage a bit better.
And it works very well with the other traits as well. And then you mentioned Lunar, so let's take a look at Lunar.
Yeah, for the Lunar Pact, we chose Resilience, which again goes with this whole healing theme. And the idea here is that where normally you're revived with up to 100 HP, if you are of the Lunar Pact, your hunter gets full HP. So whatever chunks you have left, they will be filled up as you get back up. So theoretically, up to 125. Or if you even have the advantage of the Lunar, like Relentless trait, for example, you might get picked up with 150 H points.
That's awesome. Again, very healy, very cool. And the Grounded is the last one, and I know people were very excited about this because this was shown in one of our videos. So let's talk about Necromancer.
Yeah, so we chose Necromancer for this one, and the idea here is that we wanted to do something which is only for solo players. So that was important for us to try this out. And what we've chosen is that if you are a solo player and you do have Necromancer, which normally you really don't equip as a solo player, but now it's a chance to actually do that, you can self-revive. Now, this follows the same rules as normal revive does, which means you kind of lose your health chunk, and you cannot combine this with the Lunar Pact as it's grounded specific, right? So you don't have any of these advantages like not losing your health chunk when down. So all of these normal rules apply. And when you're on the death screen, there's going to be a little countdown, and after that is over, you can press the button to self-revive yourself. Now, if you've been set on fire, you'll continue to burn, obviously, as you're down. If someone put like traps on you, you'll trigger those traps as you stand, but all the normal rules apply. But it does give solo players specifically a chance to kind of come back from an unexpected angle and, in theory at least, have like a second or third go. As you can see here with a meathead, consuming quite a few of your chunks. It is a questionable practical effect, but the theory is there and the potential is there, and that's the most important part. A good team will still make sure that you will not make it up, like they will set you on fire or they will trap you, or just somehow ensure that you cannot just come back from an unexpected angle, but you do have a chance to do this now. So it's not going to be a guaranteed revive. However, there's a chance, and I think more often than not, you might find an unexpected team having moved on, just assuming you're just that solo guy. So this will be very interesting for us to see how this plays out. We talked about in the beginning about like using this event also for experimentation. This is one of such experiments we want to do. See a little bit about how can we give some love to like solo players and actually see how powerful, maybe too powerful, maybe too weak this is going to be, and just very excited to see how this all plays out.
Exactly. I think it's you mentioned it when you started talking about the Necromancer, but it's really worth highlighting that obviously a solo player until now couldn't use the trait at all. While when you're playing with a team, you could always revive your teammates. So it's kind of an equivalent of that, but for yourself now. So I think that was like really worth highlighting. But again, obviously we're always looking for feedback, and events are, as Darius mentioned, a great experimentation ground for us too. So but all the traits and all the changes, like leave us your feedback, and obviously we'll look at the data, look at how you guys feel about it, and we may make changes based on that in the future.
Exactly. For the moment, it's anyways just for this event, and will be retired after the event is over, just like all the other things. So it's really important for us that we can kind of use these events for trying things out, trying new mechanics out, and this is one of the ones we were really excited about.
Awesome. And I think with that, we went through all the pledge traits and pacts and the additional traits as well. And we arrived to the weapon segment, which will be Simon's time to shine and talk about all the new weapons.
This is where the fun begins.
Yeah, so just to talk about it a bit, we obviously shown some videos where you could already see some of the new weapons, so you already have a few hints about these. But now we will go through how they work, show you how the reloads work, what the guns do, and Simon will tell you all about them. So let's start.
So the event weapons are currently inside of the event progression of the Devil's Moon event. So they're unlocked by progressing inside of the battle pass, but after the event they will become part of the regular weapon progression or bloodline progression. So yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, so with that being said, let's start with the Krag rifle or Springfield M1892 Krag, which is the new long ammo rifle.
Yeah, the new long ammo bolt action rifle. So the Krag is a new long ammo rifle we're adding to the game. It has an ammo or count of 5 in the internal magazine and 1 inside of the chamber, and then an extra 6 bullets as well. It has a fast rate of fire and a good reload speed, so it's pretty much an all-around very good performing weapon, but that comes at the cost of lower damage. And in terms of custom ammo, we have incendiary ammo and FMJ. So yeah.
Yeah, so let's take a look at it, and while we are watching the videos, you can tell a bit about them in more detail, what we're seeing. So this is just a little cinematic. At least we get to see how beautiful it looks.
It looks
the weapon
awesome.
art team did a great job.
Just like the weapons as a package, they're always amazing. Like art guys making awesome models, then animators bringing in this whole thing, like breathing life into it. Audio on top, like punchy sounds. I always love it when it comes together like that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But let's look at the technical video, which Simon actually recorded for us. So what do we see?
So it's a very fast firing weapon, as you can see. And the reload is also quite handy, because you can reload multiple bullets at the same time because of the Krag's design. And of course, this comes at the advantage of not requiring bullet rubber.
Yeah, I really like that while it is a bolt action rifle, it still has kind of a separate chamber because of this like reload mechanism that kind of feeds them in from the side, from underneath. So you still need to cycle once, kind of like similar to like a lever gun or so, like kind of like chamber 1 in the actual, put 1 in the chamber basically.
Yeah, and meanwhile, obviously, the stream can hear the gun as well. You guys can't. So let me just turn it up a bit so they can listen to it a bit more, because I turned it down a bit while you were talking. All right. Everyone is saying it sounds great, so I have to agree. I love it.
Nice. It's good.
I mean, the lower damage is, I guess, like the one compensating thing here, right? Like, so otherwise, it's a fast reload weapon. It has a fast rate of fire. It's a long ammo. So why not always take this one? I think the lower damage is where the answer to this one lies, because it actually is the weakest of the long ammo rifles. Obviously benefits from the flat trajectory in terms of like damage drop, etc. Keeps damage for quite a long distance. It does have overall lower damage, which means it's going to be harder, for example, to bring someone down, for example, if they have 125 hit points, like as a thing, right? Yeah. So depending on the day, on the distance, etc., like this weapon might become like a bit less reliable, maybe compared to, let's say, like a Lebel or Mosin Nagant, but it does make up for it with the awesome reload and the high rate of fire.
And Simon, I actually seen some question asking about the reload, because it was quite different than previous weapons. So what happens with partial reloads, and how does it exactly work?
I can explain it a bit further. So basically the hunter will try to put in 3 bullets at first, and if he can't, he will put in 2, and if he can't put in 2, he will put in 1. So basically, it's in that order. He will try to top as many as he can in the first initial pass, but if he can't, he will pick a different animation, basically.
Okay, so there's multiple animations depending
Yes,
on the
yeah.
That's awesome.
Depending on your ammo count you have, it will pick a different animation.
Okay, really cool. And yeah, I can't wait for everyone to try it during the event, which starts tomorrow. So again, let us know how you feel about it. But I personally love it. It's amazing. But that's not the only thing we are adding at this event. There's a lot more. So what is next? Let's talk about the Lamont Mark II carbine.
Yeah, so the Lamont Mark II carbine is a full-sized variant of the Lamont pistol, and comes with the advantage of having slightly increased overall stats compared to the base variant. But it also has now a medium barrel shotgun shot because of this modification, being a carbine. And then as well, you have a slightly longer reload time because the weapon is bigger to handle, so you will take more time to perform the actions you did before.
Cool. And so what do we exactly mean with like slightly increased overall stats? And what about the medium shotgun shot?
So in general, you have a bigger or like effective range, and as well, the sway is lessened, and you have overall more accurate shots, and a slightly faster fire rate.
Awesome. And yeah, maybe let's take a look at the little cinematic video again from our awesome creative services team. So beautiful. Although somehow my gun is never this clean in game. And how about the shotgun barrel? What does it compare to?
Yeah, so a big important part here is that I've also seen in questions already is this as strong as the Romero? And this is not the case. It's more akin to a shotgun round from a Caldwell rival, basically.
Yeah, I'll turn up the volume a bit now so we can listen to the sound. Okay, now it's just a long reload. So it is quite similar to the regular Lemmas, right?
Yeah, it's very much, if you're a Lamont fan, you'll feel right at home. And then as well, if you're a fan of the Nagant carbine, this will also be a weapon for you. But you have more utility because of the shotgun mode as well.
Yeah, it's a very flexible weapon. So it doesn't fire as fast as the officer carbine does. It does have the shotgun going for it as a secondary, and obviously also has more rounds per shot, like per drum, per reload. And I think just the combination makes it a very reliable weapon. Like, you don't need any bigger traits for it. It just works out of the box and gives you a good all-round thing for pushing, for combat. Like, it's basically just a little bit better than the pistol overall, except for the reload. It's just a little bit slower, but again, everything is kind of be close to that. But like, you have a much more stable firing platform. You have a slightly faster rate of fire, slightly faster overall handling of it, and I think that really shows. It's a good weapon to base a lot around.
Awesome. I see a lot of hype about it in the chat already, and even when we teased it, a lot of people were hyped about it. But I think the next weapon is the actual one that received the most hype. So why don't we take a look at the new Martini Henry Ironside?
Okay, so this is a new variant for the Martini Ironside. It makes the Martini in a makeshift repeating rifle. And it basically adds a big external magazine to the side of the Martini. And this device then gets operated by the lever to get new rounds into the chamber. But this comes at the downside of having an obstructive field of view, because you have this external magazine attached to the left side of your screen. But a big part what we wanted to have was to remain or keep this weapon in ADS while you're shooting, because of that box basically obstructing so much of your field of view.
Yeah, so it actually has a pretty high rate of fire when you just keep on firing from ADS, and considering that the Martini Henry is one of the strongest cartridges, next to like the sparks, the nitro. This one actually hits quite hard. Being able just like to follow up shots quickly with this one, as long as you have the targets in sight, don't lose them, because it's going to be very hard to require them with a big blocky piece on the left. Basically, there's iron on the side. It has its downsides, but it's something that we really wanted to add to the game, because this, like, first time we saw this one like a while back, and then here, like, obviously shout out to Jonathan Ferguson for showcasing this one in one of his streams. Amazing weapon. We so thought this would be a fitting thing for the game. Hope we have been showing it and replicating it well enough for you, Shaf.
Let's hope so. But of course, the fast fire rate comes at a cost in terms of reload speed. It's very much clunky, like the Alamo in that sense.
Could you actually tell us about the reload, because it is quite special? So how does that work?
Yeah, so the reload, what it basically does is the hunter pulls down the magazine spring and then starts to put in rounds one by one. But we had the opportunity here to create unique animations for each round, which adds some more flavor. And then if your mag is fully filled up, you can release the or close the top gate and release the magazine spring from its locked position.
This is super cool. And let me just turn up the volume so they can hear the sound, although it's a martini.
And one important part to mention here as well is the martini still keeps its recoil, of course, but it's a little bit different because of this big iron block on the side. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it is really very, very fitting to hunt, to be honest. It is very makeshift-like with the big iron on the side, literally. It's crazy, but amazing.
Yeah, you can kind of see why this never like really caught on, right? As a thing that was properly adopted. It's an interesting thing. Like this is so typical for like the time that hunt is set in, like this turn of the century, where you still have like these new weapon concepts and like problems still needing to be solved. Like how can we fire more than one round at a time? And it's interesting to see like people of that time have come up with different solutions, and while they're workable, they're probably not very practical. Thing gets dirty very quickly, like it might fail. So obviously, like the evolution to the proper like internal magazine repeating rifles was what then took place. But it's still like this thing just like it feels like hunt all over it, right? Like written over it. It feels like it's very, very much fitting to like hunters going modifying their weapons to solve these problems that they're encountering fighting these monsters in the swamps in their own way.
I see a lot of questions about levering. Could you guys tell us about that?
So because this rifle is not really it's a makeshift repeating rifle, so we didn't treat it as a regular repeating rifle in this sense. So we didn't opt to add levering here, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think like the moment you would kind of tilt this weapon a little bit too much to the side, the round probably wouldn't connect properly anymore. Would just fall off to the side.
Wouldn't feed properly. It's a very sensitive device, so you can't really do that.
Thank you for answering that. I've seen like hundreds of people asking it. So perfect. And that is not all though. We still have one more a new weapon variant, which is the Centennial Trauma.
So the Centennial Trauma is a new Centennial variant, and it has a reinforced stock to aid in melee combat, and it deals blunt damage similar to a sledgehammer. So you can kill immolators in one shot. Because of this stock, the recoil is slightly increased, but very slightly.
Yeah, so it basically follows the same rules as the Talons do by imitating a wood axe or combat axe, and this one the same for the sledgehammer.
Also very hunty again. Crazy. Let's take a look at a video where we actually fight an immolator with it. So, boink.
That works.
Awesome. Yeah, so I guess it's very similar to the Centennial, but it indeed can cause a lot of blunt melee damage. So maybe good against some bosses as well.
It's like the advantage that talents always brought was like that you get like this, well, not always because we changed it recently, but like what they do give you now is that you don't have to rely on, let's say, a vault item like an axe or a hammer lying nearby for the boss. So for example, for scrapping, very useful. And here the same thing, you can just bring that one and it basically gives you like at least that hammer. You can kind of get started on the boss right away. You don't have to look for anything. Obviously stamina is different, but if you then combine it, let's say with a stamina shot, you don't have that problem at all. So it's a very reliable thing.
Really cool stuff. And I think that's about the new weapons and variants with the event, which is quite a lot, to be honest. So a lot of new things and tools and weapons to play around with in your arsenal. But we also have some interesting new custom ammo, which is quite a crazy one, I must say.
So yeah, let's start with the bomb lands, right?
Yes.
So first time we're introducing custom ammo for the bomb lands, and this one is going to be very interesting because it just opens up a different set of options for the players how they want to use the bomb lands with that. So yeah, let's get into it.
Indeed.
So the first one we have are the steel balls, and so think of them as basically a type of shotgun shot that you kind of like launch out. I mean, the whole thing is spring powered, right? So just kind of launch those out to the front, and just to kind of burst and spread out, just similar to what you would expect, for example, from penny shot, and giving you like a bit of a one-shot, low-yield shotgun shot. Available to kind of like initiate combat and then kind of push after that one. There's one drawback though, is that these steel balls don't punch through walls. So similar to penny shot, you can't use that to wallbang. But it does give players just like a chance to kind of like before they charge in, just kind of like set those steel balls into the room quickly and maybe do some pre-damage or even like knock down that hive, whatever is getting to you without having to spend the explosive charges that they normally would have. So yeah, the poor tower gets it again.
Yeah, always. Let me add some volume so they can listen to it.
So like the normal reload as you've seen, and the whole thing is spring loaded.
It's really cool to see how the reload works actually, I think.
Like this is one of the advantages this one has because it technically is a silent shotgun shot, right? Because the only thing you hear is what mechanically you hear from the bomb lands. And you guys know about how far out the bomb lands usually can be heard, like with the projectile. So this is nothing which carries across compounds. So gives also a chance to kind of like use it without drawing too much attention.
Here's an example on the ground as well. Let me turn up the volume again.
Yeah, so the range is kind of similar to some of the medium shotguns, but I mean it works a little bit differently. It's not a shotgun; it just works similar to a shotgun by just propelling these steel balls out. But you get like a similar effect on target. So play with it, try it out, get used to it, and it will kind of like all the other shotguns fall in place eventually with your perception on where to use it, when not to use it.
Someone else, is it more like a projectile or more like a shotgun would be?
It is simulated as a shotgun. So like it basically fires multiple pellets or balls in this case in a cone out with a random spread, and then yeah, whatever you hit, it kind of like balances against the shotgun multipliers also. So you can't do easy headshots with it. It works similar to what a shotgun does.
Awesome. But that's not the only one. We did also add Dragon Breath for the bomb lands. So obviously that's similar to other previous Dragon Breath ammunitions and shotguns as well.
Yeah, like this one is rather straightforward to explain. You even see like little Dragon Breath shell sitting inside that container there, right? Like the dart that's being fired out. It kind of disintegrates and then it kind of falls apart to the sides. You can see like the debris falling off to the left and right as it leaves the housing. And then basically you just get like this dragon flame breath shot, like this burst of flame kind of like projecting outwards from the bomb lands to the front. So it's similar or almost exactly like you would expect from a dragon breath shot from a shotgun. Now the advantage here obviously is you can set someone on fire. You can maybe while you're charging you can set that one barrel or make that explode, set it on fire. So it gives you this flexibility, and the range obviously, as you know from dragon breath, is quite decent compared to shotguns as well. Yeah, it's not gonna there to kill people very likely, but it can set up the foundation for a good charge.
Awesome. And yeah, here we just have a picture of like comparing the different types of Bomblands custom ammo. One picture looks quite cool. And I actually really like how the reloads are, because you can see the specific let's get the bolt or charge being loaded. It's like just super cool. But we also have some more custom ammo added other than the Bomblands. Obviously, this was like the really special one, I think. But let's talk about the other ones very quickly. So yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say the regular Springfield. So it is not the Krag, but the regular Springfield gets poison ammo.
Yeah, so something that makes it a bit more easily available. People have been asking about this one for quite some time. So poison ammo for the Springfield as part of the unlock tree, and then for the Pacts and the Pacts Claw, obviously, we also added poison ammo and for Metal Jacket as an option. So that gives you mostly like ways for you to combine different loadouts and makes it overall a bit more flexible. Specifically, the Pact has received also some balancing with 111, right? Like being a bit more reliable for fanning specifically. And then with the additional ammo choices, maybe it will end up in some of the loadouts that you guys always wanted to be part of, like Vetterly, for example, or even with the new Centennial.
Yeah, it's a bit more variety, I feel like, for the medium ammo kind of loadouts, medium weapons, so that's great to see. And we do have some pictures of the ammo, but obviously you guys are already familiar with the poison ammo on other weapons as well. And here is the Pacts FMJ and poison ammo as well. Really cool. So there's one last thing to talk about in this segment, at least the gameplay segment of the stream, which is the wildcard conditions. So since we introduced this phrase, let's talk about what it actually means first. So why we decided to give it a different name is because these are quite different than times of days that we had already in Hunt. Obviously, the foggy night, etc., sunny morning, however you want to call them. We have those regular times of day, but the wildcard conditions will be a bit different than that, and they will only occur randomly on the maps. And the first, it will start periodically during events, which is during Devil's Moon for the very first one. So as we will see in a second, it will be called the Inferno, and this is our first iteration of wildcard conditions. So again, your feedback will be very important on this one, how you guys feel about having these kind of changes during events, and we'll see what happens after that. But let's talk about the Inferno, Dennis, a bit, what that exactly is.
So yeah, being the first of our wildcard conditions, basically Inferno changes the maps quite drastically. What we do is we set everything on fire. It's simple as that. Actually, what that does is specifically for this event, it creates like great opportunities to try out the Infernal traits. You might have guessed like that might be some good synergy there, but also on its own, just having the three maps being changed completely by having larger areas set on fire, it opens up new paths. It maybe closes your favorite path a little bit, and actually you may want to look for alternatives. It gives you a chance to kind of hide amongst the flames or between them a little bit, find new paths between larger areas, larger bodies of fire there. So it's going to be very interesting to see how you guys will explore the new maps when this wildcard condition is active, and like interesting to see the different tactics and different like gameplay videos that will come out of this one.
Exactly. So it will block some areas for players to go around with, right? Then it's like when they are playing.
Yeah, it's basically like bigger patches of fire. They're like non-traversable, so you can't go through them. But usually they are like little islands and just like paths between them, so you can kind of still maneuver your way around some of these larger areas. Like there might be a forest, for example, the forest next to Port Rico Alice Farm and livestock, right? Like that might actually be on fire, but it's not going to be the entire forest is gone. There's going to be multiple patches of fire, and then you still have some paths in between them, but it will be loud going through there. You'll risk taking damage if you get too close to the fire. So there's different strategies now involved around maneuvering this one, either to your advantage in terms of you want to break line of sight, move away from some engagement, or maybe like try to sneak up on someone even from the other side. So it's going to be very interesting to see how people will, for example, use those when they make their way to the exit for their bounty, for example, setting out ambushes, but also just maybe even avoiding them and taking and traversing through safer areas risk entirely. So yeah, I think the heat maps of this one would be quite interesting to review once the event is over.
Awesome. And so we did release a trailer for this already where you could take a good look, but if you haven't already, now you will have the chance because we'll play it for you. So let's take a look at the Inferno trailer quickly. All right, that was
amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, and also like I see everyone talking about the music as well. Again, you can listen to the new Port Sulphur band album right now if you want. And yeah, that trailer was super cool, and it is coming very, very soon with the event. So we will let you guys know. As we said, it will occur periodically during the event, so you will have to keep an eye out when it actually comes. But we'll let you know, and I can't wait to see all the reactions and everyone trying it out. So it's gonna be great.
Someone was asking about quick play. So yeah, like whenever we have that wildcard condition active, it also will affect quick play.
Awesome. And some people ask about choke bombs. I've seen a few questions. What can you do with choke bombs on the fire?
You cannot extinguish all the flames. No. So basically, with the choke bombs right now, you cannot do anything about walled fires, right? Static fires that have always been there. You can only interact with dynamic fires, like those, for example, from burst lanterns, fire bombs, etc. And the same is true here. So you can use that while there is like fire that has been like man-made, man-placed there, but anything that's like is part of this wildcard condition, you basically don't have a chance to put any of that out, because we kind of don't want you to build your own paths through the fire, right? It would also be like art-wise like pretty hard to actually make that happen dynamically. But you will have to respect that there's huge firewalls, and your choke bomb just won't do anything to them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. So okay, thank you, Dennis and Simon. I think with that we arrived to the end of the gameplay changes part, and now Simon will come on, Anton will come on to talk about all the progression and the new challenges system, and after that we'll be back with all the rewards and the Q&A section at the end. So thank you, Dennis and Simon, and see you in a bit.
Thank you. See you in a bit.
All right, see ya.
Papa, Anton. Hey, Anton. How is it going?
Hello, Benz. I'm doing good, thanks. You?
I'm good. Sorry, you had to wait so long. I know you're excited to talk about the progression, and we did refer to you a few times. So yeah, let's dive into it, and let's talk about the new challenges system, which is huge. So.
Okay, so talking about the new challenges system, as some of our players remember that, some time ago we released a new summon system, which was quite a good improvement for previous system that we had before that. But at some point we just realized that this summon system is a little bit, heavy to use. It requires a lot of micromanagement. Also, it had some balancing issues. That's why we basically decided to rework it and make it way more user-friendly. So a new challenges system, which is going to replace the summon system, will be working like automatically. So for every task that you have, you won't have to like pick it up from a special menu. They are always available by default, and you can just go to the mission and yeah, play and complete these challenges. So basically, during this event and even after the event, because we're going to keep this system, you can complete these challenges to earn star, and this is very similar to what we had in the past for summons, or for example what we have for quest lines as well. By earning these stars, you can complete some special milestones, and we're going to talk about in a minute on the next slide. And by reaching these milestones, you can earn event points.
Yeah, I can see a lot of people saying it's an awesome change. I agree. Again, with this event, we took on a lot of feedback, and I think this also reflects that. So, Anton, this sounds awesome. So, let's look at how it looks on the UI end.
So that's basically a new challenges screen. Looks familiar a little bit, right? We kind of had somewhat similar progression back in the days with our previous events. So here we have, yeah, something similar. So on the bottom part of the screen, you can see 4 challenges. So all of these challenges are active by default. So you need to just go to the mission, and they will be like completed automatically. No needs to pick them up from the special menu or select or yeah, whatever. So for each of this challenge, you can earn 1 or 2 stars based on the type of the quest, and basically we have 4 different types of quests. So the first one, which is PvE type of quest. The second one is kind of mixed. There is some core gameplay elements like searching for clues or maybe killing bosses, some you know, like interaction with a map, like you can see on the screen, find envelopes, for example. The third slot is mostly for PvP interactions, and the fourth one is something skill-based, so a little bit more you know, difficult challenges, like you can see on the screen, land headshots on enemy hunters from 100 meters using rifles. No ammo boxes. I can expect that there are already like some questions in the chat, but yeah.
Oh, that was my favorite. God no.
Right. So basically, by completing each of this challenge, you will get stars, and you can see that on top there is a progression. So, for example, the very first point, the very first milestone, the progression is for 3 stars, basically. It requires Battle Pass to unlock this specific milestone, but every time when you unlock when you earn 3 stars, you will get a reward for this specific milestone. So as you can see on the screen, if you can go 1 slide back, for 9 stars, for example, you can get 800 event points.
That's a lot of event points. Yeah.
Yes, that's a lot of event points. And talking about the difficulty, we also did some changes in here. We tweaked the system, so we believe that these challenges are going to be somewhat challenging, but not too difficult, not too grindy. And we are going to keep an eye on all of these metrics because we're tracking all of that data, and yeah, we might react accordingly if we see some weird stuff in there. So that's basically it. One important thing is that challenges are available for 1 week, and after 1 week, they are reset. So all of your challenges are re-rolled, and you basically lose your progress, and you need to start again. So every week, you basically have a chance to earn quite a lot of event points just by completing these challenges. And yeah, on the left side of the screen, you can see a timer, which will basically show how much time do you still have to complete.
So I've seen few questions. One was regarding what happens if you complete a challenge. Does it reshuffle, or is it like what happens then? And about the reshuffle button as well.
Oh, yeah. So basically, every time when you complete the challenge, for example, the first one, kill grunts with knife, when you complete that, you will get stars for it, and this challenge will be re-rolled to another challenge from the PvE pool. So yeah, we have a bunch of different challenges, so it's gonna be you know, pretty random for any player, but yeah, that's how it works. About the reshuffle button works this way. It is available once a day. And if you, for example, don't like some specific challenge, like let's say you don't like to use pistols for the third task, you can select this task and you can reshuffle it, and it will be randomly re-rolled to another task from the pool. This option is available once a day, and yeah, you cannot spend blood bonds to re-roll further. So yeah, this is a one-time offer per day, basically.
That sounds really cool, I think, and I feel like it improved a lot compared to the previous system. But let's take a look at how the milestones and the event points work exactly, because that's the most important with Devil's Moon. So we did prepare a little table for everyone. Could you explain this?
So yeah, here on this table, you can actually see the distribution of the event points for each milestone. We have 30 stars in total, and for each milestone, you can get from 400 to 900 event points. In total, there should be around 6,000, don't remember exact number, 6,400, I think, if you have a battle pass, which basically unlocks the first milestone for you for 3 stars. Yeah, without it, it's 900 event points less. Plus, in addition, we have a little bit of blood bond rewards similar to summons. So 25 blood bonds in total, as it was before.
Okay, just like a few questions I seen. So when it resets every week, can they get the event points again for each progression? Like each milestone, sorry.
Yes, basically. So every week you can collect 30 stars. If you do that, you get all the event points and all the blood bonds. And then every, to be precise, it happens on Wednesday at 7 a.m. UTC. The challenges are reshuffled and reset, and basically you have the empty progression again. So you can get your event points within that week as well.
And you did mention the battle pass for the first one. Is it just the first one, or how does that work?
It is only for the first milestone for 3 stars. Without the battle pass, you will start to earn event points from 6 stars. With a battle pass, you will start to earn them from 3 stars.
Okay, so it's 900 event points difference, basically, if you do the changes. Awesome. If there's more questions, please leave it at the Q&A section at the end, because we went through a lot in this, and we'll get back to you because our lovely mods are also hopefully collecting some questions for us. So thank you, Anton, and let's move on to the battle pass we just mentioned. How does it work this time?
Okay, so the battle pass system is pretty much the same as we had for our previous event, the Serpent Moon one. However, we made quite a lot of changes in the balance and the rewards distribution, and we actually add even more rewards in that. So let's take a look at them.
Yeah, we'll have like a whole section for all rewards, but yeah.
Yeah,
ahead.
you're right. Before that, let's talk a little bit about the battle pass itself, how much it does it cost, and what you can get for it. So we have two different types of battle passes, the standard one and the premium battle pass. Basically, the standard one includes the access. It gives you the access to a premium reward track from the event progression. It gives you a unique weapon charm, which is called Serpent Moon Memento, to basically celebrate our previous event. And as I already mentioned, it adds additional event points. It gives you additional event points through the challenges. So the very first milestone is challenges. Challenges is unlocked by purchasing the battle pass. So for the premium battle pass, it works exactly the same, but in addition, it immediately gives you 10 event levels booster. So if you want to progress really fast, you can have this additional 10 levels from the very beginning with a significant discount. But we're going to talk about that as well.
Exactly. So let's look at quickly just on a graph of the free rewards, which are just through the event progression that you can get. Again, we will dive into them each a bit, take a look a bit closer, but if you want to screenshot this, because this will show you all the free rewards, and there's quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you can already see some weapons that Dennis and Simon mentioned before. So they will be unlocked through the event progression from the free rewards path. So they are not hidden behind the battle pass. You don't have to spend your blood bonds to unlock these weapons. And as well, we have other legendary rewards, as you can see, like on the bottom of the screen, as well as weapon charms, one unique legendary hunter, and other rewards such as blood bonds and custom ammos.
Yes, and some people already know that this is Kevin, and here, right. And let's look at the battle pass.
So for the battle pass event progression, we also have some legendary stuff, which is basically new legendary skins for these weapons that are going to be released together with the event that you basically can unlock through the event, as well as Kevin's pistol. You can see it like below, some weapon charms, and many other rewards.
Yeah, and this is Mary from the story. So
Mary,
I see some people like, oh, that's Kevin. Wow. Yes, actually, like hunters from the previous event stories, and obviously this event story are in this event as unlockable hunters now. So this is Mary and Ochenko, and the other one is Kevin Linus. And yeah, let's look at those rewards that you said, or like unlockables. This is with the battle pass unlock, the Serpent Moon Memento weapon charm.
Yeah, I mean, that looks absolutely amazing, and yeah, I really like this connection with the previous event. So now we have this opportunity to pick up something that happened like in the past, and yeah,
and the only way to get it is by getting the battle pass this time.
yes.
So looks really cool. And let's talk about the event progression that you already mentioned. And you mentioned the levels of the battle pass and that you get 10 levels with the premium. But how do the levels differ and how do they work this time around?
Okay, so I can probably expect something going on in the chat, but so for this event we have 50 levels for 50,000 event points, and yes, this is quite a huge number, but together with the new challenges system, I believe that this time we managed to make it quite balanced. not so grindy, and I can expect that it's going to be like pretty entertaining and yeah, with like some effort by completing these challenges, you can earn quite a lot of event points out of them, and yeah, so we are going to take a look in there as well to keep track all the data. We do have all the numbers, and yeah, we'll see how it works.
Yeah.
But I can expect a huge improvement on that side.
Yeah, and as you mentioned that from the challenges they can get over 6,000 event points already, and that's on top of the regular event points collected, like with the usual events. So
exactly. So not only you earn this event points from the challenges, but you also have your core gameplay activities similar to like previous events by looting other enemy hunters and collecting clues, killing bosses, all the standard stuff. So yeah. So talking about this event points, 50 levels and linear event progression, we are not going to have the progression similar to Serpent Moon event when with every level you had to earn more and more and more event points. This time it's very linear. Each level is 1000 event points. So basically by just completing one challenge, you can already have 900 event points, which is basically almost one level. So I can expect a pretty fast progression here.
That's awesome. Sounds good. And we do have some images of just like how it looks and how people progress through it. So maybe you could talk us through it a bit. So what we see right now.
Yes, so on the screen, you basically can see the main event screen. It looks somewhat similar to what we had in the past. However, it looks, I personally think it looks much better with all of these like 3D backgrounds and stuff. Looks really cool. So, and as you can see on the bottom side, there is some of these icons, some of these rewards are marked with keys, and that basically means that this type of reward is hidden behind the battle pass. Yeah, the rest of them are available just within a free progression.
Cool. I'm just going through the rewards so people can see it. And here's Linus, or the False Saint, as the legendary is called.
Yeah, Kevin.
Yes, and we also have the story progression again, like with the previous event, and you can also listen to some of the chapters in audio format, so you can just listen to the story, what happens, and obviously you progress through this as well while you are progressing with the regular event progression.
That's right.
All right, so we talked about the battle pass, we talked about the new challenges system, so let's talk about the boosters. So every event we do have some sort of mechanisms where people can boost their progress. What is it about this time?
So for event boosters, some things are the same as it was before, but some things we are changed quite significantly. So first of all, the classic event trait Saini, which previously cost 10 upgrade points, now we reduce the price to 6 upgrade points, so to make it a bit more affordable. It will give you plus 10% of a booster. Then we have event legendary hunters, and we can see a list on the screen. Lady Pershta, the upcoming DLC, the Ochenkov's Widow, which is going to be Mary from the event that you could see on previous slides. Then the Devil's Advocate, the Legacy Event Hunter from our previous last year holiday event. Then Skinflint, also Legacy Event Hunter from the holiday event that happened 2 years ago. Witch Hunter from the DLC, they came from Salem. Redneck, our well-known Bloodborne Hunter, and the Archaeologist, which is also the DLC.
That's quite
so
a lot
all
of hunters, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said there's quite a lot of hunters compared to the previous one. And
Yes.
when we talked about this video, I had a question to you, like, okay, but like, so the Mary or Ochenko's video is booster hunter, but why is Kevin not? And I was like, oh, because you unlock Kevin when the event is over, so it makes no sense. So if anyone is asking that questions, Kevin is not a booster because he's the last unlock in the event, but Mary is somewhere in the middle, so you can still use her.
Exactly, that's right. But we have more boosters.
Exactly. So global boosters, what is that, Anton?
First of all, the global booster. I'm not going to talk much about it. Please keep an eye on our social medias to get to know what is that. But what I can say that from time to time we're going to have this global boosters that are applied to all players, and every player can benefit from this global booster.
Sounds nice. And we still have the contracts.
Yeah, we still have our contracts. And basically, contracts are very similar to what we had in the past. We remove one of these contracts, the longest one, for 7 days. So this time we're going to have 3 hours, 24 hours, and 3 days contracts, which gives you 50% booster. But this time, and this is really important, because the event points distribution is changed now. So you can earn event points not only from the core gameplay activities like in a mission, but also from challenges. We decided to significantly reduce the price for these contracts. So they are much cheaper right now, and you can go and see them in the store tomorrow. One important thing is that all of these event boosters are applied only to the event points that are earned in the mission. So they do not affect event points that earned from challenges.
Yeah, makes sense. Sounds good, Anton. So we talked about the boosters, which are like the contracts as well, which are available in the event store. But what else, or what can people get in the event store this time around, which is always important. So what are there?
So in the event store this time, we have actually quite a lot of interesting stuff. So first of all, battle passes. You can purchase battle passes from the main event screen, but they are also available in the store. So yeah, it's hard to miss them, because during the Serpent Moon event, we had this issue that some people were a little bit confused because battle passes were not included in the event store. So yeah, we fixed that, and now they are available in there as well. Then new interesting thing, this time we are going to sell battle pass levels. They are going to be able in a pack of 1 level and 10 levels. So for these people who really wants to speed up their process, it is possible right now to buy the basically 50 levels from the very beginning of the event. Well, same as before, we have the event exclusive item, which is Bornheim number 3 this time, and I think we're going to see some screenshots just on the next slide.
Yes.
Plus, this time we have this event exclusive weapon charms bundle, which contains of 3 different weapon charms, and yeah, we can take a look at them just in a minute.
Second.
Plus, we have this legacy holiday bundles. So for these players who missed our previous holidays events, Blood and Ice and the Winter Solstice with the Skinflint and with the Devil's Advocate. So all of items, legendary weapons and hunters from these events are going to be available during the whole event this time. You can also purchase some items from the legendary store separately.
Yeah, I see a lot of people happy about this because they wanted those older legendaries. And yeah, as you mentioned, let's take a look at these, how it exactly looks in the store and what will people see. So obviously this is the battle pass. As Anto mentioned, you can also get it from the very front event page. so it's hard to miss. Then the event levels, which is also new. So again, you just have to go to the store tab if you really want to speed up your progress, or you have no time left or something like that and you want to finish it still. And then we have the Bornheim Funeral Dirge. So you can see it here, but we'll also have a slide showcasing it. The Weapon Charms bundle, including Pan's Head, the Tarnished Wing, and Selin's Lock. 3 weapon charms in one. But again, we'll take a look at those as well. And the 3 bundles Anton mentioned. So the first is the Winter Solstice bundle. I believe that's from last year, right, Anton?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and so you can get all the legendaries from last year in one pack. So that includes the Devil's Advocate Hunter and all the weapons, as well as Spirit of Fuel, which was a firebomb. So consumables and weapons. Then the Blood and Ice bundle is from the Winter Event 2 years ago, which was called Blood and Ice. And again, you can get the Skinflint and all the weapons, and there was a Duster and a Medkit as well, on top of the Vetterly, and I believe it was a Mosin Sniper, so a lot of cool stuff. And then we do have the big holiday bundle, which includes all of this in one pack. So quite a lot to get from it. And again, some of these hunters were also boosting your progress during the event. So some people may already have them, so you can just use them, but you can also buy them for blood bonds.
And yeah, for these people who took part during these events back in the days, but haven't completed them fully, there is the option to purchase some of these items from the Legendary store.
So yeah, so can you buy some of them separately like that, or?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Awesome. So the bundles are just a discount over if you want to get all of them, basically. Yeah. Yes, that's awesome. Right. Yeah, and let's take a look at these legendaries that are exclusive to the store. So as we mentioned, this was the Bornheim. It looks really sweet. And yeah, it is available. I think it was 1,000 blood bonds in the event store. And then the 3 weapon charms that were available in the bundle was Pan's Head. She's really nice looking, little goat head.
Yeah, he's cute.
Yeah, quite cute. Selin's Lock. Also looking good on the weapon.
Yeah, with a moon cycle, I think.
Yes.
Around.
Yes. Very fitting for the last moon themed event for sure. And then we have the Tarnished Wing as well, which is like a little moth-like figure. It is also quite a cute, to be honest. And you get all these 3 in a bundle in the store.
That's right.
Yes, and with that we arrive to the end of this segment, and we will summon Dennis back, and the 3 of us will quickly go through all the event legendary unlocks so we can take a closer look. And after that we'll dive into the Q&A sections, because I already see some questions, but yeah, let's quickly look through all the rewards. Hey Dennis, welcome back.
Hello. Keep in mind though, you can't summon me back. You have to challenge me back now. We changed it.
Oh, right. You're right. Yes. So yeah, let's just quickly go through the rewards. We don't want to spend too much time or read the lore behind them because that would spoil some of the fun in the event as well. So let's just take a quick look on every legendary unlock and talk about it just very quickly. So let's start. And these are all in order of unlock. So starting with the Iron Arrowhead weapon charm. I think
I like that. Being a bow and arrow connoisseur, I do approve of this one.
I mean, it would look very cool on a bow in general, I think. So really nice. Some close-ups of it. Sweet. Then we have the Zeal. Finally, a vitality shot. I'm really happy.
Awesome one. I really like the look of this one. I mean, this is just the tragic thing. I never use vitality shots. I probably would have died only half as often if I did, but I somehow never use them because I use my consumable source differently. But for everybody who does, I think this is gonna be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm really happy that we have more and more stuff like different tools or consumables being legendary because yeah, like it.
Yeah, you can finally take like a. I mean, you could already, but Now you can take a full legendary loadouts with like a regular personal loadout that takes vitality shots. So very cool. And then we have Smolder, which is the new Centennial Trauma, and a skin for it. So
Yeah, really pretty beautiful as well. I like it. I always like it when it's like patterns that kind of like extend over larger parts of the weapons, like this one.
yeah, and it also looks a bit cultic, like like I'm not sure like lore-wise what it ties to, but it looks very culty and like creepy a bit. So I really like it personally.
I also like that it's not that rusty as the original version, because that thing on the back, it's quite rusty in the original version, but this one looks way clearer. So
You're right.
looks good.
Used like not a second-hand one this time around.
Amazing. So then we have the Fated Chance, which is another weapon charm.
Also very beautiful. I
Almost like a
that one, so-
bracelet put over the weapon, I think. So very cool. I if someone can translate those runes, I would love to know. So
Oh, me too.
yeah,
I just wonder what's in there.
same. A closer one so you can see it better. The next one is Agony Eternal, which is the new Martini Henry Ironside, and this is actually so pretty.
Yeah, big fan of the wood carvings.
Yes, like on the Ironside, the little metal side loader was like very makeshift for real, and here it actually looks very pretty. So I love it. And like floral patterns over the ground as well. Then we have the Knight for all the horse lovers out there. It's or chess lovers, whichever. A beautiful weapon charm to put on your any of your weapons.
I also like that thing that some of these items are slightly burnt a little bit, which gives this additional, like sense of the whole Inferno theme in here. So
Yeah, they might have also traded hands quite a couple of times already.
True. Then we have Hair's Breath, which is like another pretty cute. I mean, depends how you look at it, because I feel like it's a bunny's like little arm.
So it's a token, like a vintage token of luck, right? So
Yeah.
it's like a minus
Sorry.
10% of headshot chance. Yeah.
Yeah. So I call it
Plus
cute,
10,
but
plus
it's
10 for you. Yeah, minus 10 when someone else is shooting you.
I mean, once you put that on that X, you definitely need luck, so it's all good.
So the next one is Obituary, I suppose. A Lemmath Carbine skin. Again, the Lemmath Carbine is the new weapon variant. And again, like very, very beautiful version of it. Similar to the Ironside one a bit.
I love the details on the drum also, like that gives some very nice contrast.
Yeah. Oh, and the skulls at the stocks. Super cool. The next one is the Talisman, which is a Krag rifle. Again, a new rifle, a completely new weapon for this event. And fitting into the same themes. Very nice. I feel like everything has this like a bit of silverish look to them, which I really like. Like a
I think
moonish.
this one feels very nice if you like your partner's bring like a bone weave or some of the other like Mosin Nagant skins, for example. This one is very nice, complementary.
Yeah, I really like that it looks very similar to that Mosin rifle. Was it Empty Cairn or Bone Weave?
I think it's the empty can. The bone.
Empty Cairn, yeah.
Yeah, the other one is a bright, more.
Yeah.
That's the white one almost.
Bone colored one,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes, so I really like the way, because that one is actually one of the most favorite skins in a game. So I'm really happy that we have something similar for another weapon.
Very nice.
Probably going to use that a lot.
Same.
Fitting at tier 3.
Definitely. Oh, and look who we have here. It's Ochenkov's Widow, also known as Mary from the story. Super badass, although like a bit scary, not gonna lie.
Like she's the champion of the Infernal Pact, basically supporting Mr. Cherry's plans and endeavors.
And she holds the Krag, actually, so.
Yeah, I like that shot.
Awesome. Then we have Necrosis, which is I think the first legendary hive bomb. So finally we also have a new hive bomb to play around with, which you loot quite often. So now we can maybe get one with a skin.
Yeah,
That's
like
very cool. Yeah, it's like it's you know, so dirty, and yeah, I like that the texture is changed, and yeah, just I think it's a bit more interesting than the original one.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it in first person too when you shake the bees up in it. Then we have a legendary concertina trip mine called the Devil's Dream. I feel like it also fits into that same style as the previous weapons. They are like almost like a nice set together. Really cool. Can't wait to step into it when I enter a compound. Then we have a legendary stamina shot. Let's go. Xusha, I think.
Yeah,
Xusha. Very nice.
yeah, really cool looking as well.
Yeah, I would say I can't wait to inject myself with this one, but that sounds a bit weird. So, but it is very, very cool. I was always a big fan of the golden weapons that we released. We have like the golden uppercut and now a sparks, and you can have a full golden loadout. So
yeah.
amazing.
Some people already found out in a chat like what this name is about, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We can keep it a secret. Shh.
Okay. Then we have the hay effigy, which is a small little effigy made out of hay. So the name is very fitting, and it's pretty cool as well. It looks very voodoo-like, I would say, too.
Hey there.
The hay guy, very cute. Now this I can say it's cute because no paths were cut off in the making of this, so very nice. Then we have the Cardinal Icarus. So that's some feathery birdie style. So if you like Scrapbeak, you may want to take this. Very cool. The next one is Greed, which is a new Romero hand cannon. Legendary.
Can't have enough of those.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, I like the way how it looks, you know, quite simple, but at the same time, you know, somewhat unique. So yeah, I like this simplicity sometimes in this weapon. So definitely good looking one.
Yeah, what's really awesome is like now that you can kind of like quickly look at these weapons also when you set up your weapon charms, right? So you can kind of get like all the benefits of the 3 viewer directly from the arsenal. So it's good to kind of check out all the details once in a while.
Yeah. Someone said in the chat, oh my god, so many legendaries. I know, right? This event has the most ever, so a lot of new things to play around with. New weapons, new variants, new legendaries for everything. I mean, not everything, but like a lot of things that we didn't even have legendaries for, like the Vitality Shot, for example, and the Hive Bomb, so...
Yeah, some really, really good ones in there as well. But I think I really like as overall, like we have a chance to put more and more rewards in there. I think people really appreciate that.
Agree. Very cool. And then we have the False Saint, which is the level 50 unlock. And again, it's Kevin Linus from the lore, but the False Saint is the name of the legendary hunter. He's
like the champion of the Lunar Pact, and obviously going directly against Mr. Cherry, imposing his scheming.
Exactly.
I like that thing on his back, which creates somewhat, you know, unique silhouette of the hunter.
Yes.
However, yeah, it doesn't make him, you know, like way too big. So it's maybe a bit easier to see him from the distance, but yeah.
And someone noticed this was indeed the hand you've seen earlier in the video, so you are correct.
Like the last event has kind of set up Kevin quite as a tragic person already, so I'll be curious to see how this all continues this event.
Yes. And I think the last one in the list is the Dying Sun, which is also a level 50 unlock, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And yeah, and it's a Spitfire, Scottfield Spitfire unlock, and Kevin's pistols.
We do have 2 unlocks on the last level. So Kevin and this pistol, which is Kevin's personal weapon.
Like, it's just so beautiful, this one. Actually, like, amazing. Yeah, but so that was all the rewards, which was quite a long list. So I hope you guys really enjoyed what you've seen. And now I'm gonna summon Simon back as well. And we arrived to the end of our video, which is the Q&A segment. So we already collected some questions. I hope, I need to open Discord for that to look. And let's talk about some of your questions. And with that, we will end the stream too. First of all, Anton, to you, I've seen some arguments in the chat earlier, actually, but I wanted to wait until the Q&A, where people were like, oh, the 6,000 event points from the challenges, you can only do it once. And then others was like, no, you can do it again. Then they were like, no, you can only do it once. So could you like just clarify on that one again, how that works?
You can do it multiple times. So for every week, as I mentioned before, challenges are going to be reshuffled every Wednesday at 7 a.m. UTC. So you can earn around 6,000 event points during the first week. Then your progression will be reset on Wednesday, and after that you will have another chance to earn more event points, and basically the same cycle is going to happen during the whole duration of the event. So every Wednesday challenges are reshuffled, and you can earn event points again.
Awesome, thank you. So I've seen some asking when the event starts again. We talked about it in the beginning, but maybe someone missed it. So Anton, when was it exactly?
The event starts tomorrow at 3 p.m. UTC.
And yeah, so and it ends on February 15th, 7 a.m. UTC, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And for all of those who are bad at math, like myself, if you translate that, it basically means like 4 p.m. Central European time as a reference.
Yeah, that's right. So the whole duration of the event is going to be 2 months, or I think it's actually 9 weeks this time, to be precise.
And okay, I actually have a small news from our mod. So the new DLC is now available. So Frau Persta you can actually get now, and there's a Devil's Moon bundle on Steam, which comes with Frau Persta and the Witch Hunter with 35% off. So check out the new DLC on Steam and also on consoles, and of course check out the bundle on Steam, because you can get the new Legendary and the Witch Hunter, which is also boosted hunter during the events, so it may be a very good pickup right now. Let's look for more questions.
I got one here.
Okay.
So someone asked about the pledge marks and whether they're shared with the team. Yes, they are. So if any of the people in the team do one of those 3 conditions we talked about earlier, like getting your first time 35 event points, or your first boss banish, or your first time you loot a hunter in that particular round, all of you get 1 mark, and then you can choose for yourselves what you do with that mark as you go to the pledge posts. So there's no competition within the team.
Awesome. So I seen a question about the bomb lance, actually. I don't know if Dennis or Simon wants to answer. So do you have 1 custom ammo slot, or does it come with 2, or how does that work?
So basically, for the moment, we only choose 1. We kept this as a possibility for the future that we might allow to swap between different ones, but we wanted to get like a feeling about like how these new ammo types are actually working before starting to mix them in any way, and maybe we add future additional ones then also. But nothing to talk about for the moment. For right now, you have to make a choice before.
Awesome. So someone asked about the new DLC, actually, like Frau Persta. So because this is the first DLC pack that comes with 2 legendary hunters. So how does that work? How can you switch between the 2, or what is that about?
I can answer this. It works very similar to our staged hunter that we had during the Serpent Moon event. So basically on the screen, when you can purchase your legendary hunter, there are going to be 2 arrows on both sides. So you can just switch between 2 different skins and purchase the one you want.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sorry, maybe I should clarify that a little bit better. So when you purchase the deal, see both of these hunters are available. So you still need to spend $200 to purchase the hunter to use it. But yeah, you can just switch between them and pick up the skin that you prefer.
Yeah, so every time you recruit them, basically you can make the choice before,
Yes,
as you can with the Viper.
exactly.
Thank you. So I've seen a good one. So we added the pacts, and there was still some confusion. So does it affect your event progression in any way? Which pack you choose? Is there like 3 different progressions, or is it just fun? I mean, I know the answer, but like Dennis maybe.
So basically what we
Yeah.
try to do is like we separated a little bit the gameplay part from the progression part. So it doesn't matter what pact you choose in order to progress in the event. You have the normal event progression as Anton has outlined. The pact is really just about what is your gameplay choice. So like which traits do you want to get access to if you earn enough marks and then pledge yourself. There's, however, another layer on top of that, and that is the pre-pledged hunters. So that some of the legendary hunters, they already made their choice based on their place in the lore, and are therefore only able to kind of like choose one particular pact. So, for example, Mari Ochanko obviously is gonna be the champion of Mr. Cherry, and she is always pledged, or is always her only chance to pledge will be towards the Infernal pact. Like she's not basically yet committed. So you don't have the traits, but the only choice she can make as she approaches the pledge posts in game is to go Infernal. And you have that for different hunters as well. However, there on top of that, and that's where we talk about the progression, there's also a specific set of event hunters. And maybe Anton, you can quickly repeat that part.
For boosted hunters or
Exactly.
for pre-pledged? Yeah, for boosted hunters. I mean, there are quite a lot of them. If I remember correctly, there are Devil's Advocate, the Skinflint, Frau Pershta, the Archaeologist, the Redneck.
I think we're like 6 or 7. It's quite a lot, like more than we ever had.
Yeah. So there are quite a lot. Some of them I think are pre-pledged, some of them not, but they all give you 10% booster for all the event points earned in a mission.
Yeah, so expect some of those hunters to show up a bit more frequently during the event, as similar to what we did in previous events.
Thank you. So there was a question about the pact boxes or pledge boxes, let's call them that. Are they only you can only find them at the supply areas that were like cards on the map, or can you also find them at the boats, let's say?
No, you can only find them at the cards, and for this event we will only have the cards. So basically, we changed the rule set around where you find those supply points a little bit. So they are usually a bit more found towards the center of the map, but there's still quite a lot of different options. And for the purpose of the event, you will only have supply points which are like cart-based, wagon-based. So you will not find the boats, you will not find the train cards. You will only have them where basically the wagons can be placed. However, every time you find a supply point, you will have the pledge posts there.
Awesome, thank you. That's very interesting, actually.
So like
I
every
didn't
map
even
will
know.
have always 4 supply points with always the pledge boxes next to them, basically.
Awesome. So yeah, I see a lot of questions about a next gen update, guys. That's not really related to the event, but again, we are working on it. As soon as we have more info, we will let you know. We can't really say anything at this time other than that. Yeah, we are actively working on it, and as soon as we can, we will let you know. So we already answered this a few times previously, but just to make sure. And another one is about the recent reload bug. We also talked about this a lot. It is also something we are very heavily working on, actually. So maybe, Dennis, you can share a bit more details than I can.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, we've put a post out with some of the details. So like the problem is that if we've been like trying to squash that particular bug for the better part of the last half year or so, and the thing is that it is kind of deeply rooted within the weapon system. So the moment we start applying some fixes, unfortunately in the past it has always had some side effects. You guys might remember like the Lamat exploits we had for like a week or two in early spring, for example. These type of things, they can unfortunately happen the moment you start tinkering with these these type of like deep-rooted systems. So what we're doing at the moment is we're trying to apply like a more broader fixing and refactoring approach, trying to get on top of these systems a bit more across the board. That then hopefully also will just make sure that these bugs in general can't really happen anymore within that kind of revised and refactored system. But working on that just takes time, so that's why we couldn't manage to get it out this update.
Awesome, thank you, Dennis, for the little insight on that. So someone asked if there's a champion to the Grounded Pact, and since we do have the Inferno Pact with Mary and the Lunar Pact with Kevin, the Grounded Pact is a bit different from this perspective because they are more like hunters that don't really care about the other two packs or the war. They are just trying to use it for their own good or like other ways. So they don't really have a champion because it's not like a collective goal. It's more like, we're just gonna benefit from all this stuff going around.
It's like the unaligned faction, so to say. Like that pact is more loosely linked to one another. That's also why we kind of put like more of the more solo-focused mechanics around that, with the Necromancer conditional effect, as well as also like Death Cheat and Shadow with their respective attributes. So it's something to experiment more with. It's something where solo players might actually quite find some interesting new gameplay styles. But in general, they are less committed to either of the two causes.
All right. Do you guys see any more questions that you would like to answer right now?
I actually see one. The question about ranking, meaning leaderboards, as in the previous event. No, for this time, we are not going to have a leaderboard. We were thinking about like how to redesign that system and make it a bit more interesting and challenging for this event. But unfortunately, like didn't have enough team bandwidth, or so we decided to keep it for now. Sorry, not keep it as it is, like without the leaderboard this time. So but we might return to that system because it was quite interesting how many players were actually trying to, get their way like higher in the leaderboard.
Yeah, it's like we kind of like pick a certain amount of mechanics per event and just try to experiment around them. So sometimes also things that you might have liked a lot, we actually intentionally don't gonna repeat directly at the event after, just because we want to focus on other things. So for us, like events are always a bit of a learning experience as well. Like experimentation can happen during that time. So whatever has proven and worked, there's a good chance for you will be able to see that return in a future event. I've seen a few more questions here as well, gameplay related. So there was one about quick play and how the entire pledge marks system works around quick play. What I can say is that you won't be able to find any of the pledge posts in quick play, so you just have the normal supply points as normal. However, the sole survivor of a round of quick play actually earns 1 mark. So that can give you a bit of a head start. As we've learned before, you can only get up to 3 marks per bounty hunt mission, right? For the event points, for the first banish, or for the first loot of a hunter. Now, if you, however, bring a sole survivor that has already then gotten 1 mark from winning like a round of quick play, you might actually be able to get up to 4 marks in 1 round, because he has that kind of like one pledge mark lead compared to the others. It makes it just interesting for those who are kind of like try to keep a stash of quick play hunters ready for when their friends come online, that you can already get into things quite quickly. So apart from that, however, there's not going to be any chance for you to kind of like pledge yourself during a mission of quick play. You can only ever get at the end. But of course, you can still earn event points as per the normal rules.
Thank you, Dennis. Was there anything else you wanted? Because you said
there were a couple of questions about Inferno we can talk about quickly, maybe.
Yes.
So one was whether Inferno can happen at all times of day. So being like one of those new wildcard conditions, you have to think of Inferno as a package, and it always has like a time of day linked to it, which is like this specific like kind of eerie setting. Basically, every time the Inferno is on, it will be at that time of day, as that is part of this entire package. So it's not mixed up with like other times of days like fog, etc. It's its own thing, but it's more than just a time of day. Being a wildcard condition, it also has these gameplay changes like the world being partially set on fire, opening and closing certain paths, and just making it very interesting. Can explore the space differently than normal. There was another one whether you actually, what you do if you die in a firewall, I mean, you can't really run through some of these fires. So you can move a little bit into them, but like then like the big fires, you just can't like really go through them. There's kind of like an invisible wall almost that kind of stops you. So that means if you go down, you'll be in the fire towards the edge of these bigger patches. So just as in other world fires that are already persistent in the game right now, in this case, your friend would need to kind of like see if they can pick you up without either setting themselves on fire, and you have to run out as quickly as you can, or they have to just accept that maybe getting you, they also need to burn themselves a little bit. So that's just one of those risks, being close and around fire. But then again, that's also where the Infernal pact traits come in quite handy, because they can help you to kind of move around these limitations somewhat. And then the last one, maybe just quickly also about the Inferno, just to wrap that package up. How will the fire affect dynamite? Well, it just blows it up. So you can kind of use these like bigger areas also for doing some interesting like priming grenade type of things, right? Just like throw it into the fire, blows up almost instantly. So you can kind of use that to your advantage, but you also have to be careful that if you kind of toss it around the fire, it might blow up prematurely if it crosses through some burning patch there and then actually blows up, damaging yourself. So yeah, be always careful around fire.
Sounds good. And yeah, so the Inferno people also asked if like, so when it will happen or how. So we should clarify that it will be periodically during the event, so not always. And you will have to check out maybe our social channels or the news of when it's happening, and that it will be there. And you know, you will never know. So keep an eye out during the event. All right. Is there anything weapon-wise, Simon, that you maybe seen, or anything from your side, Anton, that you still wanted to answer? I guess no. I actually seen a question about the lore. Is there a way to check the previous events? And I'm not sure if you can do that in game, but I know that they are on the wiki site, for example, or like around online. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you cannot really look at it in the game, right, Dennis?
Not at the moment. It's something we're exploring, whether we can make that somehow available to the players in the future, but we have no concrete plans we can share at this point. However, as you mentioned, like there's ways for you if you Google for them, like you can find them on YouTube, I'm sure, as well as people having them put on wiki. So if you're really interested, there's ways for you to find the previous lore.
Yeah, you can find it, and then you can maybe catch up on the lore like tonight, because the event comes tomorrow, so you don't have much time. I mean, you always have time to read it, but yeah. We didn't say anything about costs and exact damage numbers for the new weapons, but I suppose you will have to find that out during the event.
I think what we can maybe give you is the costs quickly. I have those here in case anyone is interested, but obviously you will see it then from tomorrow on.
Yeah, maybe we can mention it quickly.
Give me like a second to quickly just open up my cheat sheet.
No worries.
All right, so we have the Springfield 1892 crack rifle that costs you $376. So it's kind of sits a little bit in between them, like the Berthier and the Lebel, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have the Martini Henry iron sight that costs $184. So a bit more pricey than a normal one, but still kind of reasonable for getting you like a technically rapid fire long ammo weapon. And then we have the Lamat Mark II carbine that costs you like $130. Again, also I think a pretty reasonable price for a very flexible weapon.
Awesome, thank you, Dennis.
Yeah, I think the remaining ones, like all the custom ammo, etc., you can go through yourselves as the event goes live tomorrow.
Okay, I think with that we answered a lot of questions though. So again, please keep an eye out to the deep dive videos where we will go over these topics again, just focused on them with the Dennis as well as Anton. So those will come up this week. So you will have like one video to look at instead of going through the whole stream, let's say. And thank you, Dennis, Simon, Anton. It was a lot of fun. And this is the last dev stream of the year, so it's also time to say happy holidays to you guys as well as to the whole community. So I know that someone like Dennis is already on vacation, so he's taking extra time off to be here. For,
right?
Yeah. No better than being on a dev stream on vacation, yeah.
It's always fun. It's my pleasure. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you all. Yeah, happy
Thank you,
holidays
guys.
to everyone. And
Thank you.
yeah, and see you all. We will have some gameplay streams to wrap up the end of the year with the event, with Violet, Ari, and some of the CMs. So you can still get some giveaways for the holidays, and we will actually have a bunch of like holiday giveaways on our social channels. So it's worth following us because we'll be giving a bunch of DLCs, maybe even more than just DLCs. So check that out. And again, happy holidays. Thank you all for joining today. Happy New Year as well. And yeah, see you next time and see you during the event.
Enjoy the event. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Happy
Bye-bye.
holidays.
How could you say her name? How could you kiss her lips? How could you say those words? Waves sinking all my ships. It ain't